I actually wanted to show this one earlier, just very briefly, to bring some clarity to the issue here. The people often pose this and say, "Oh, this was once the land of Palestine," but then
Yeehaw!
Israel came along and stole the land bit by
You,
bit, and
you see what they did?
they
They
left
wanted
only
it
this
all so
one
they could
here.
have their monster truck and tractor rally.
Yeah, but what is actually this is actually complete nonsense. This one depicts the situation more accurately, where here it is the British mandate in 1946,
And that is correct.
and here the UN plan 1947 is to partition the land between a Jewish state and an Arab state.
So,
Which, by the way, looks very ugly.
to be clear, the UN said, let's divide it up like this. There are Jews who have legitimate concerns about being under the control of Muslim leaders, considering those Muslim leaders were in cahoots with Hitler in order to wipe out the Jewish population. Therefore, there needs to be some land here where the Jews actually are not under the control of Muslims. So we'll divide it up like this. Hey, does everyone accept? Some people said no.
Ain't that right? Yeah, and then the Arabs said no.
Yeah, they said no, we reject that, and we instead declare war, which they lost.
Yeah, and then they lost, and they were like, "Hey, wait a minute, we were just kidding.
What?
It was just a prank. Come on, no, let's go back."
What happened to the two-state that we don't really want at all?
And Egypt took this part, and Jordan took this part. Egypt actually gave this part a little bit of autonomy and said, "Hey, guys, here you can you manage this, but this is part of Egypt now." And Jordan was more radical and said, "You know what? We don't have any interest in establishing a separate state. This is just going to be part of Jordan." And later, in 1967, Israel, through again another provoked war, took the whole land and actually occupied all of it, and also the Golan Heights. And it was later Israel which came up with the idea of just releasing these parts and giving them some form of self-governance, which they then ruined by, especially Gaza, ruined by electing Hamas. So yeah, and just to keep in mind, before all of this, the Brits wanted to give the whole thing to the Jews. So they already made compromise and compromise and compromise, but nothing was ever enough.